Rain shears sideways across the glass like sand on a cheap lens, each droplet dragging its tiny distorted copy of the city down into the gutter. The hum in the next room isn't a refrigerator. Not really. It's flatter, more human somehow, like someone trying to remember a song they never learned. He says the numbers aren't numbers. They're instructions, old ones, older than language, left in the margins of the universe by something that wasn't thinking about us when it wrote them. I drink coffee that tastes like rust from a chipped ceramic mug and watch the neon signs outside die, one tube at a time, into puddles that look black until you get close enough to see the glow. He tells me about a friend of a friend who solved something they shouldn't have solved. And it's not pride in his voice, not fear either, more like that tired way you talk about a dream that still feels like it's happening. He says it wasn't a solution so much as a password, and if you've got the right ears you can hear it in the low hum of old CRT televisions at 3:17 in the morning, the exact moment when your shadow feels heavier than your bones. 2 miles of rusted track, no trains anymore, just the wind dragging its coat through the skeletal towers. Somebody left a notebook out here, half buried under wet cardboard. Pages warped, stiff with rain, 12 lines on each, sometimes just strings of symbols, sometimes whole sentences that don't make sense until you tilt your head and remember the way your own heartbeat stutters when you're lying to someone who's already lied to you. I flip the page and the air changes, tastes like old pennies, sharp at the back of the tongue. I close it quick, leave it where I found it, because you can feel when a thing is already looking back at you. The 4th floor walk-up with the unmarked door smells like burnt dust and hot plastic. Inside there's no furniture, just wires stapled to the walls like veins, old screens playing static, noodle cartons turned inside out. He's soldering something on a chip Formica table. Not a machine exactly, more like a nervous system. 2 drone motors scavenged from an alley dumpster, a child's music box with the cylinder removed, and something shaped like a camera but made of wood. He says you can find all the pieces if you know the right dumpsters, the right pawn shops, the right moment to look up when you're walking. The danger's not in the parts, he says, it's in the map, and the map doesn't look like a map. Glass City at night is a mouthful of broken teeth, towers lit from the inside by light that feels tired of being light. Billboards flicker between old advertisements for shoes. No one sells anymore, then to solid white, then nothing at all. I follow a woman in a silver coat down an alley that smells like ozone and something sweeter under it. She tells me about a man who vanished in 1998, a day after telling a room of strangers about a pattern in prime numbers that made the floor feel unsteady. People say he went off-grid, but it's more like the grid folded over him like a blanket. Her breath makes clouds in the cold air. My phone dies in my pocket without warning. The cafe has no clock. No one talks except to the devices in their hands. A record player in the corner loops an old jazz line, catching every 4 bars so the same note repeats like a warning. I ask the barista about the 12, and he doesn't look up from the counter, just moves the rag in slow circles until the laminate shines. Finally, he says if you ever see them, don't read them in order. I ask why, and he says because order is the point. Then he smiles like he didn't mean to say that out loud. The night bus shakes like it's trying to get free of its own bolts. Across the aisle, a man is writing on his palm with a broken pencil, muttering into his fist. Face wants to bend, he says to nobody. You just have to give it the right hinge. The driver keeps looking at him in the mirror. I blink and he's gone, but the floor still hums faintly, like the road itself is remembering something. Every telling changes. Sometimes it's 12 equations. Sometimes 12 coordinates. Sometimes it's a game you can play on a child's calculator if you press the keys in the right order. Sometimes it's a dream you can't wake from until you've forgotten how to count. The server farm's been dead for years, but the air is still warm. Dust lays on the racks like frost in the dark. On the far wall, 12 horizontal lines scratched into the paint. Beneath them a drawing. A gear inside a circle, inside a square. My fingertips buzz when I touch it and keep buzzing long after I walk out. At 4:02 a.m., every public screen in the city goes black. Then white text. The shape of the cage is not the shape of the bird. It flashes 12 times before static swallows it. The morning news says nothing. Postcards arrive from nowhere. A dead satellite drifting over blue water. A child spiral with a red X in the middle. Always different return addresses. Always the same handwriting. One says simply, "Entropy is a direction, not a fact." There's always a door in the basement you're not supposed to open. This one's locked from the outside, but the hinges are on my side. Inside, a table, a chair, one bare bulb. Equations cover the walls and something almost black. I read one line and my pulse skips. The bulb's filament sounds like it's speaking. I leave and I don't remember locking it. A voice on the radio, fading in and out. They're not forbidden because they break the rules. They're forbidden because they write them. Then only static. Then nothing at all.